welcome everybody to the Grueling Truths Week 9 CFL Pick'em Show. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now I want to welcome in my co-host. We're going to start off. Oz Davis is missing tonight. I think he had a secret mission, down south somewhere. We're not allowed to speak about it. So Joe Pritchard's going to sit in for him. How you doing, Joe?
Oh, I'm doing just fine.
And, of course, we've got... Huh?
No, go ahead.
And, of course, as always, we got Brian Schmidt.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
Well, Brian sounds excited. And as always, we got former CFL Hall of Fame quarterback Dieter Brock.
Hello, everybody.
And also Robert Drummond, four-time Grey Cup winner. Wasn't able to make it last week because he was on a flight. How you doing, Robert?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to not be in that fight and glad to be back here to get my picks and talk some football.
All right, I think Oz just didn't sew up because he's a Montreal Alouette fan, and I no longer make fun of Dieter because his team wins all the time. So, but we'll start off there. Edmonton 23, Montreal 12. Looks like that Montreal. I think both these teams are in trouble. What do you think, Robert?
Montreal's in more trouble. I mean, they lost, but a defensive stalwart game of sorts, as you can say. But Edmonton, they always say at this point. I had said, 2 weeks ago that the middle part of the season is going to determine, where these teams are, where these teams are headed. And to get a win, a tough grind-out win like this, says a lot about Edmonton going forward. It didn't play well on offense. One touchdown by Riley himself. And they're going to have to put more points on the board to stick with some of the better teams. But a win is a win, as they say in football, and this was a good win for them. And they got the 2 points.
Yeah, and Dieter, what was your take on the game? I mean, Edmonton, I think, only got one offensive touchdown. Mike Riley threw one touchdown pass. Is there cause for concern with Edmonton's offense? I mean, the offensive line has not looked good, to say the least.
Yeah. They've had some problems there, but they've had more problems on defense. But they played better this week. But and I said before, Montreal's got a good defense, but they just can't hold up because Montreal can't score. And I think Edmonton. I hate to say it, but I think they're dropping. I think Winnipeg's coming on up the chart here a little bit. So yeah, Edmonton. It's got to pick it up a little bit if they're going to get back in it.
Yeah, most definitely. And so you'll have to fill in for Oz here, Joe. The Montreal Alouettes, a quarterback play. Kevin Glenn didn't play well. They didn't run the ball really well. I mean, what's Montreal got to do to right the ship?
I don't know if they can right the ship this year. At this point, it's pretty clear that they don't really have a lot of offensive horses here. Their defense can only do so much for them. So I'm starting to wonder when we'll see them go to the bench here and try a different quarterback just to see what they have for the future, because I don't think their future for this season is going to look all that good.
Yeah, and Brian, I mean, we talked about it. Edmonton's offensive line seems to be the biggest problem with the offense. I mean, how possible is it to fix that at almost the halfway point of the season?
It's going to be tough. It's not that easy. And look, I mean, at this point, if you're Edmonton, I mean, you got to hold on and hope that they've improved just enough that allows your quarterback to get something done. I mean, that's where they're at this point. I mean, it's not easy just to go out. You just don't get in the yellow pages and go find yourself new offensive lineman. It doesn't work that way. So it's going to be tough. But, the thing about this is, as Robert said, I mean, this was a grind-out win. They got the win. Let's see where they're at. Maybe this is a turning point. They've got to get better on that offensive line, and defensively. I mean, this was Montreal. I mean, I think I could go out there and play defense against Montreal. So, we're gonna next week. I think is going to be a good telltale sign of where they're at.
All right, now this brings us to the game that's nearest and dearest to Dieter's heart. Winnipeg, 3 in a row, 34-17. Clarence Denmark was unstoppable. The Bombers picked off Logan Kilgore 5 times. They win 34-17. Dieter, are you convinced that Matt Nichols is the real deal yet?
Well, he certainly is playing very well. He's played three really good games in a row. Winnipeg's defense is playing better now. Turning the ball over 5 times, 5 interceptions, and you can't win doing that. That's for sure. And so they a lot of it has to do with how bad Toronto played, but Winnipeg certainly is playing a lot better. And they've got they're 4-4 right now, and they got a bye week, and they should be feeling pretty good right now.
All right, Robert, your old Argonauts struggle with Logan Kilgore there. Is there anything they can do to right this with Kilgore? Do you think he's a guy that can turn this around, or do they have more problems than just that, possibly?
I read somewhere, and I sit here, and it's interesting to me. I sit here, and I had my 1996 Grey Cup championship ring on, and I said to myself, being in Toronto, the ups and downs, the highs and lows, we went through that entire season, but to get to the championship, you have to, maintain a professionalism throughout an entire season. I read somewhere with Toronto, I know, the starting quarterback and 3 of the starting receivers, are out. But you know what? In the game of football, that's the game of football. You play through adversity. You play through injury. You have to find a way to win. And right now, Toronto just seems to me like they're looking for excuses. Albeit Winnipeg is playing great football right now, the last 3 games. They seem to be on a roll. They seem to have found what it is they need to do to win games. But until Toronto gets over this woe is me, looking for excuses, I don't think Kilgore is their answer. I don't think anything is their answer except going out there and trying to find who they are as a team.
Yeah, and I know, Joe, I think you're a Blue Bomber fan too, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. I've been waiting for the other shoe to drop on this nice little run the Bombers have gone on, and I'm starting to think it might not happen here. Nichols is playing very well. The defense has been as good as they have been all year, and now they're starting to make some big plays happen too. I'm really excited to see if they can go on a run, especially with their next 3 opponents being Montreal and back-to-back with Saskatchewan. They've got themselves an opportunity here. I'm going to love to see if they can make something out of it.
Yeah, and Brian, the big thing here is Nichols has played well, but Andrew Harris, 19 carries, 123 yards, not something you see every day in a CFL game.
Yeah, and what's really been impressive is the one thing that we talked about early on with Winnipeg was, the thing that was consistent about them was just being inconsistent. And now they have been very consistent over the last, certainly 3-4 weeks. And I think, I'm starting to want to get a ticket on the bandwagon here. I'm starting to see, this may be a team that, is it a Grey Cup winning team? I don't know about that, but it's certainly, a team I think got an opportunity to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and that'll bring us to our next game, which was Calgary 19, Saskatchewan 10. Bo Levi Mitchell, as always, really good quarterback, one of the best in the league, if not the best, 18 for 31, 298 yards. Jerome Messam scored Calgary's lone touchdown. He's had a great year this year. But let's go to Saskatchewan. We had a little bit more going on in Saskatchewan than just the game. We had what happened prior to the game. Joe, what's your take on Chris Jones? Is the fine enough?
I don't think the fine is enough for what it sounds like was happening there, where they had more than 10 or 15 players just hanging around based off the math I was doing on this. We had Daryl Davis from 3 Down Nation say there was up to 95 players around, and I pulled up their roster and counted 78 listed. So it seems like there was a little bit more than what may be commonly happening around the league here. But Saskatchewan fans are getting the worst part of Chris Jones right now. It's going to take a while for them to see the best part of it, so they're going to have to hang on tight for a while. He definitely comes with pluses and minuses, and until they start winning, all you're going to hear about is the bad things.
Yeah, and I think right now, I don't know if you agree with me or not, Robert, but from looking at it right now, Calgary and BC, I think are the 2 best teams in this league.
Yes, Calgary and BC are definitely the 2 front runners right now. And the one thing about any organization, is football. As long as I've been around football, is that it's one thing to have, troubles, with your on the field play. It's another thing to have troubles with your front office, because now the saying in football is, a certain excrement runs downhill. And when it starts at the top, there was always upstairs and downstairs. Upstairs being the management, in the upper level, the owner, things of that nature. Downstairs being the players, the coaches, and those who do the groundwork and actually go out there in the field. And when it's rolling downhill like that, that's a sad state of affairs for Saskatchewan. What happened with the fines and in the
yeah. And Robert, the way it sounds though, it's not just happened since Chris Jones has been there. It was happening before that.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I believe it. I definitely believe it. It's not just something that just happened. That just it happened out of the blue. It's been going on for quite some time.
Yeah, and I think in this case, Brian, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but it's hard to pin this completely on Chris Jones because if your boss is already doing something when you get there and he wants to do it, you're probably best to be quiet, anyways.
Yeah, you're gonna go with it, and but unfortunately, when it all goes bad like this, the finger that gets pointed normally isn't with the boss; it's normally with the head coach, and I think that's what's kind of happened here. But I agree. I mean, he comes with a lot of pluses and minuses, but I think that the pluses will happen. Whether they happen this year or not, it's hard to say. But eventually, I mean, he's been successful, and I believe that he will make them successful. It's just it's going to take time. I think it's going to take more time than maybe what people thought. I think there were a lot of people that thought they'd be pretty good this year, but at this point, I think there's a lot of question marks that I'm just not sure they're going to be able to answer, at this point in the season.
All right, Dieter, Saskatchewan, Darren Durant, 24 for 37. A lot of people thought him coming back would help this team, put them over the top. What's your take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders right now in their current situation?
Just too many changes, Mike. I mean, all the changes they've had, I mean, with, new coaching staff, a lot of players have left. This is what's going to happen, and it's going to take a year or so for them to get back on track and get the team that they want. Right now, they're just too many changes for them, and they're and of course playing Calgary's the best team in the league in my opinion. They got the best quarterback, and they got the best defense, and so I guess they played them fairly good, but Saskatchewan is just they just got too many holes right now to get back in it.
All right, now that brings us to the last game of the week, which we finally got what we've been wanting, was Zach Collaros. And I can tell you this from talking to Oz last night, he says we were right. So this team is completely different. The first half, he was definitely rusty. Second half, he comes back. They outscore BC 26-13. Manny Arsenault catches a touchdown pass with 1:23 left, though. BC rallies, holds on to win 45-38. How big a difference do you think Collaros made from what you saw, especially the second half when he shook off some of the rust, Dieter?
Well, as I said last week or even before that, when Collaros comes back, Hamilton's going to be one of the better teams, and I believe that. And I think with him coming back, they're going to, have a chance to battle Ottawa, depending on Ottawa's quarterback situation. And until Ricky Ray comes back, Toronto is going to be in trouble, and Montreal is not a threat to anybody right now. So Collaros coming back, Hamilton's right in the hunt.
Yeah, I think right now Montreal is only a threat to themselves. But let's see.
I think Cato they need to put Cato in there.
Yeah, you think that would help matters? It
can't hurt.
Yeah, it can't hurt it. So, Brian, that'll bring us to another quarterback. I know you like to coach quarterbacks. Jonathan Jennings played really well again. I think we put to bed the debate between him and Travis Lulay.
Yeah, he's the improvement that I've seen from week 1 to week 9, it's really unbelievable just seeing how well he continues to play, and he gets better every week. There's not really been, an opportunity here lately where he's played bad. He's just
he made the mistake at the end of the one game that I remember, and that's about it.
Yeah,
but even that game he played really well.
And he played really well in that game, and even with that mistake, I mean, the defense certainly could have done a little more. But yeah, I'm getting real impressed with him. I really like the fact that he, again, we talked about one mistake in the last. I mean, he doesn't really make a lot of mistakes. He makes good throws, makes good decisions, and we were talking early on, BC's defense and the offense was virtually non-existent. And now, 45 points. They're putting up points every week. 38 the week before that. 41 the week before that. I mean, they're putting up points. So it's not just a defensive team anymore. This is a team that'll put up some points.
Yeah, Robert, we look at the Tiger Cats. Collaros is back. How much of a threat do you think they are to make a deep run now?
If I was Ottawa, I'd be very, very nervous right now. I mean, let's be real. You look at the West, and it's a 2-team race. It's BC and Calgary. You look at the East. Yes, Toronto is up there, but without a starting quarterback, and Ricky Ray, and as Dieter said, until Ricky Ray returns, they're going to struggle the rest of the year. Hamilton is a team right now that, albeit they lost this past weekend, they're starting to find themselves. They proved it in that second half of what they're capable of doing with Collaros in the game.
Joe, go ahead.
Their defense starts playing any shape, way, or form. You see the points they put up against that great BC defense in the second half. Hamilton is a team right now that I'd be very, very wary of if I was any team from the East.
Yeah, especially Joe, do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah.
So you think Oz Davis is completely wrong having that argument with us, right?
I just think Hamilton's got enough talent to make a deep run here. You could see what happens when teams feel confident at quarterback. Just take a look at the Bombers here the last 2 weeks here. They still have some of the talent they had on defense last year, although they were blowing people out with their defense a little bit last year. I don't think they'll be able to do that this year, but I don't see what's going to stand in their way if they get hot.
Yeah, the only thing I could see standing in their way, I don't know if you'd agree with me or not here, Brian, but would be Trevor Harris coming back for Ottawa.
Yeah, and what a game that would be. You have those two going against each other, those two offenses. I mean, that's a game. But I think the biggest key for Ottawa is to get Trevor Harris back, and now it becomes two teams that I think are going to be very, very good, and it's going to be interesting to watch them with both of those quarterbacks.
All right, we will go ahead and pick our games for next week. Dieter, were you undefeated last week?
I think I was.
Okay, since you think you were and can't prove it, we're going to say you were 3-1.
I know. Hey, listen, I know I was.
All right. So Dieter won last week. He was 4-0. I think the rest of us were 3-1, though. So that's 2 weeks in a row where nobody was worse than 3-1. So we'll start off with Robert. We're going to give you a really tough game to pick, Montreal at Ottawa.
That's funny.
Take Montreal.
It's like a junior high team playing USC or something.
It's just way too many problems on the field with Montreal right now. It's really hard pressed for anyone to bet against an Ottawa team. I'd definitely go with Ottawa.
All right, Dieter.
Who's Ottawa's quarterback this week? Do we
They're
know?
playing Montreal, Dieter.
Does it matter? That's what I'm saying.
Brian
does it really matter?
Brian is. We should be fine still picking Ottawa.
Yes. This is no question. Ottawa's, playing well. Whoever plays at quarterback, and defensively they're playing pretty good also. Montreal just can't score enough, and they won't do it this week.
No.
All right, Brian.
Well, I am playing quarterback for Ottawa this week, and
well, then they're dead, because if anybody has ever seen you throw the football, it's not pretty anymore.
It used to be.
I don't know about that. I've only seen it when it was old.
Hey, I still have 3 good throws left in me, so I can hand the ball off the rest of the game and still beat Montreal.
Yeah, and the 3 good throws are all hitches. So go ahead.
That's all you need. Ottawa is going to win. And again, it may not be the highest scoring game. It may not be, a blowout as far as, again, maybe 23-12, but certainly Ottawa's going to win this game.
All right, Joe, do you agree with everybody else?
Yeah, I can't argue with that. It's got to be Ottawa.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go with Ottawa, too. Next up, Joe, we'll let you start one off since you're the new guy. Edmonton at Toronto.
This one caused me to think more than any of the others this week. I'm going Toronto here. I just don't think Edmonton's consistent enough, and I don't think Logan Kilgore is going to throw 5 interceptions for 2 straight weeks.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, this one's tough, but every time I go with Edmonton, I tend to get wrong. But I think with this one, I've got to go with Edmonton. I'm just not convinced on Kilgore, and also Toronto struggles at home. And I just have a feeling that Edmonton can pull this one out. So I'm going to go with Edmonton. I'm going to go with the upset.
All right, I agree with Brian. I'm going with Edmonton also. I'll just go with Riley or Kilgore. I know I've done that a couple times this year with Riley and been completely wrong. But Dieter, Edmonton at Toronto.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Kilgore. He's, obviously he played bad last week, and I really like Mike Riley. I don't like Edmonton's defense. I don't like Toronto's defense. I think Toronto's good on defense, but when you put it all together, I've got to go with the quarterback, Mike Riley, and hopefully, and I'm thinking Edmonton is playing a little bit better on defense, and I got to go with Edmonton.
All right, Robert.
I mean, there's so many factors you can say about this game. With the fact that Ricky Ray is not playing, and Kilgore, I'm definitely not comfortable with. Mike Riley, one heck of a player. He's playing well. Edmonton's up and down. They're Jekyll and Hyde. But you still, at the end of the day, with Toronto can't score points. Definitely gotta go with Edmonton.
Yeah, and they're terrible at home too, which doesn't help matters.
They're just
the amazing thing is they've got a winning record.
With the exception of Calgary, the entire CFL is terrible at home. They're all either 500 or below.
Yeah, it's been a weird year. Let's see. So we got everybody covered there. Well, we'll let you start off with the biggest game, I think, of the year so far, Robert. Calgary at BC.
Ooh, as I said before, I understand those Calgary BC wars. I just think Calgary, to me, is just playing, as I said before, they're the 2 top runners, in not just in the Western Division right now, but in the CFL right now. And I just will slightly give the edge to Calgary because I just think they're playing better football now with Bo Levi Mitchell. And he's going to find a way to win. Because he has been this entire season.
All right, Dieter.
I'm going with Calgary.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Robert here. Both of these teams are really good, and I like Jennings a lot. I think he's he's playing really well. And BC is they're at home, but listen, I've got to go. Calgary's got a great defense also. Maybe even better than BC, at least from giving up points. And when it comes down to it, I've got to go with I think what is the best quarterback right now in the league is Bo Levi Mitchell, and Calgary's defense I think will be good enough to hold BC down, and it's going to be a close game I think, but I got to go with Calgary.
All right, Joe.
Yeah, I think everybody's gone Calgary so far, and I'm going to as well here. I just think they're a touch more consistent. Both teams are fantastic in my opinion, but Calgary's just been there before and done that over the last few years here, and I think they pull off the rubber match here this year for this year. I'm hoping for a fantastic game though, because I'm going to be seeing this one live, and I'm looking forward to it.
Alrighty, Calgary at BC. I guess I'll pick it before Brian. I'm going to go with BC. I think Jennings has played really well. I think the defense has not played well. My difference is this. Calgary has spent the last 2 weeks playing Saskatchewan. I think BC's played the better competition. I think BC will come out hot in this game. I think they'll get a fairly good-sized lead. Calgary will come back a little bit, but I think BC nips them at the end. Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to go with BC. As much as I like Calgary, I don't know, there's something about this BC team that I'm really starting to like, and my gut tells me that BC at home, even though teams have not done well at home, but BC's playing well offensively, and Jennings is playing real well, and I just have a feeling that BC is going to win this one, so I'm going with BC.
All right, so we got 3-2 Calgary, so we'll see how that goes. Got one more thing to bring up real quick. One of our co-hosts, Brian Schmidt's up for the Indoor Football League job in Salt Lake City. They're called the Salt Lake Screaming Eagles, correct?
Yep.
Did I get that right? Or Salt Lake City Screaming Eagles?
Salt Lake City Screaming Eagles.
Yeah, and they've got, I think, 5 or 6 finalists for the head coaching job. And there is a link. There will be a link on our Facebook page tonight, and I will be posting on Twitter also where you can go and vote for him for the job. So I want everybody to make sure you go ahead and hit that up. Do you have any more details, Brian?
No, I mean, right now, the voting lasts for a week, and, the nice thing is a lot of the competition did a lot of mass voting today, being the first real day. So already starting to see their numbers slow down. I've been trying to keep it steady, but, I would really like some mass voting right now as well, just to kind of bring the numbers back up. And, I really appreciate everybody going on there and voting, and get your friends and family to vote. Get everybody you can to vote. Facebook, Twitter, share it on there. Let's really get this going. It's a great opportunity, and a great opportunity for players and out there to have an opportunity to move up to the CFL. So I really would like to get everybody voting.
All right, guys, it's the Salt Lake City Screaming Eagles. You can actually just Google that also. It'll take you right to it, and they've got a little thing where you can click the box to vote for the coach. So make sure you vote for Brian Schmidt. Don't vote for any of the other losers. Dieter, do you have any final words?
Now, are we skipping the Saskatchewan-Hamilton game?
I think we picked it, didn't we?
I don't think we did.
Joe, did we pick Saskatchewan-Hamilton?
Do we really have to?
I don't think we did.
We didn't?
I don't think we did either.
All right, I got Hamilton. Joe?
It's easy. I mean, this is Hamilton.
Does anybody want Saskatchewan? Let's put it that way.
Got real quiet there, didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, so Robert, since you spoke up, does that mean you want them?
Not a chance. I told you, Caleros is going to make that team an entirely different team and a dangerous team.
I think that team, I will make this prediction now. If Caleros stays healthy, Caleros takes them to the Grey Cup.
I wouldn't bet against you.
No, I'm
right
thinking the same way.
I wouldn't bet against you.
All right, so Brian, you're picking Saskatchewan then?
No, I'm picking Hamilton. you know, I'm a big Caleros fan, so that's where I'm going.
Oh, me too. He played at the University of Cincinnati. He's like 20 minutes from me. Went and saw him play in person a little bit. He's a heck of a quarterback. Any final words, Joe? I know how much of an honor it had to be for you to be in our presence tonight.
Well, it was actually a lot of fun, and really looking forward to this week's slate of games. It should be a good set.
All right, Dieter.
Yeah, obviously the game that I think everybody is going to be looking forward to is this Calgary BC game, and it should be a heck of a game. Other than that, I mean, all the other ones are, fairly good games, I would say, but, that's going to be the big game this week.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the game everybody's looking forward to. Robert?
I think this week is going to be very prevalent for the simple fact that I think the Calgary-BC game is going to set the tone for what the West is going to be like. And the simple fact that Collaros is back with Hamilton, and he proved that second half, what they're capable of doing. They're out now to make a statement. Going into the ninth game of the season, or they're here now to prove that as you said, there's a chance. I feel a very, very good chance that they can make the Grey Cup this year. And Hamilton's going to prove a point this week. You got two great games to watch this week. One, the BC Calgary game, for the simple fact it's going to be a war, and to declare who's the top dog. And anybody who plays Hamilton from here on out, because Hamilton has something to prove with Collaros back.
Yeah. Most definitely, Brian. We're going to let you go last this week.
Well, I mean, first of all, and Robert said it, I'm looking forward to both of those games. I love watching BC and Calgary, and so getting that game is going to be awesome. But with Collaros back, Hamilton just becomes a must-watch. Anybody that watched Hamilton last year during their run before Collaros got hurt, I mean, they were just it's such a fun team to watch. With Collaros, but with every bit of weapons that they have on that offense, we're gonna definitely see Hamilton scoring a lot of points here. Like I said, the big key is Collaros staying healthy.
Well, Brian, I'll let you go last so you can tell everybody to vote for you again.
Oh, that goes without saying. Everybody vote for me.
So, Joe, if you get a chance, get on there and vote. Dieter, Robert, we got to get Schmidt a job. Schmidt don't want to have to get a real job.
That's right. I want to stay in football. I don't want a real job. So, but like I said, if everybody can also share it on your Facebook, your Twitter, just get everybody to vote.
All right, sounds good. Remember, guys, it's the Salt Lake City Screaming Eagles. Vote for Brian Schmidt. But make sure you check out all of our shows the rest of the week. We got Out of Left Field, our weekly baseball show, our weekly boxing show, to Rouge, White, and Blue with Joe Pritchard and Oz Davis. And coming up soon, we want to start the NFL season. Our NFL Pick'em show will be myself, Matt Andrew Scavage, former Pro Bowl offensive lineman Leon Searcy. Brian Schmidt will be doing a Pittsburgh Steelers weekly show with Leon Searcy and Dwight Stone. We will have former Miami Dolphin Dion Dyer doing a weekly Miami Dolphins show. Dexter Carter will be doing a San Francisco 49ers show with the possibility of Joe Montana being on one of those shows with him. So make sure you check out everything at thegrillingtruth.net. You can catch all our shows on iHeart, TuneIn, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Music. So for Joe Pritchard, Brian Schmidt, Robert Drummond, and Dieter Brock, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.